Hey, BassGeek here. And anytime I go out and I see somebody catch a bunch of fish on stuff and I take a butt whooping, I spend too much money. Hey, I hope everybody had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Didn't put out any videos there during the holiday week. Spent a little time with family. Spent a little time with friends, so forgive me. You know, I went down to my buddy Joey's and he was fishing a couple of things that I realized I had holes in my arsenal. You never want a hole in your arsenal other than the one you got. Unfortunately, I've got some. So let's get started talking about this giant mess of gear that I've got laying here. And before I really get started on that, I want to give a huge shout out to Smoky Mountain Jigs. I buy a lot of custom made jigs, custom colors and stuff from this gentleman. He sent me a bunch of my favorite color that he's made for me in the past in some really good punching jigs. Sent me a little note, so let me read this to you here. Hank, here's a few summertime 3/4 ounce jigs in your favorite color. Chris, Smoky Mountain Jigs. Hey Chris, thank you. I appreciate the heck out of you. And this is one of my favorite colors. I'll take one out of the bag and show it to you here. But this is one of my favorite colors. It's a black, brown, amber. It just covers every color that a crawfish is going to change to. You know, so the amber kind of mimics a real pale orange color. So one of my favorite colors. Thank you, Chris. Remember, Smoky Mountain Jigs. Of course, there'll be links to all this stuff in the description. You guys know that I've got a local tackle shop, and I tell people to support their local tackle shops, and I'm going to explain to you, this is the perfect example of why you need to support local tackle shop. You can go on Tackle Warehouse right now and you can see a lot of this stuff, but a lot of it is sold out. So many people go and shop Tackle Warehouse that they sell out of things so quickly. Tackle shops that I go to most of the time, they'll post on Facebook when they get new stuff in. You find out when they're getting things in that maybe Tackle Warehouse doesn't even carry, like the Nico swim baits. Or maybe you can't ever seem to get your hands on, like some Spro shallow divers. So that's what I love about shopping local. So, you know, you heard me say earlier that most of the time when I go and I take a butt whooping, and if y'all watch that Hartwell video, I caught a few, but good God, man, Joey just wore me flat out. Now, I learned a lot from Joey, and that's why I take those trips, and I hope you guys learn, because you're not just seeing guys like me fish. I'm wanting to go to different areas and fish with some really good sticks like you all and learn from you guys. So I went to Just Fishing. This is a huge haul from Just Fishing. I'll put a link in the description to Just Fishing. They do sell some stuff online. I don't know how well they keep it stocked up. I'll put a link down there, just a major link to go to them, and you can check them out and support them. All that being said, let's dive in. So the one thing you really seen Joey burn me up, and the sad thing about it is there were two things, major things. But one of the things that he burnt me up were some Zoom, and I can't believe I don't have this color, but I don't have this color. And it's the Trick Worm, and it is the Green Pumpkin Magic, which is a great color. You guys know this is a great color. We all know it's a great color. I bought out every single one that Just Fishing has, which they only had like 3 packs. 2 of them are already out in my boat. So I've got a pack of them right here. The Green Pumpkin Magic is an incredible color. It basically has every single color in flake that there is. I decided that, hey, if Green Pumpkin Magic's good, why not go ahead and pull up some watermelon? So I picked up about 3 or 4 packs of Watermelon Magic. And then I seen Watermelon Magic Red. I love Watermelon Red, so why not? Of course, I picked up about 3 packs of their Watermelon Red. So you know all those are going on the wall, right? Now, as far as soft plastics go, what I originally went there to do is to stock back up on some of my Kitex, right? My rib swim baits, because for us around here, it's that time of year. You can take a Kitex out, you can go fish it real slow, and you can catch bass almost all winter long. My two major colors that generally I go to, especially when I'm fishing around smallmouth, it's going to be Tennessee shad. And this time of year, you kind of get smaller as it gets colder. That tends to be what the bass focus on. So I've got me 2 packs of 2.8s in the Tennessee shad, a very natural color, and of course 1 pack in the 3.3. The 3.3 is kind of my go-to, but once we get into fishing that super cold weather, which I'm not sure is going to come this year, just to be honest with you. You know, I was literally on the lake with my buddy Tyrone. Shout out to Tyrone. Yesterday, we did horribly, but man alive, it was 67, almost 70 degrees out. But all that being said, my other color, of course, hey, if we're fishing for smallmouth in the winter times, a lot of times, smallmouth magic. I know, that's a surprise, right? So, of course, I picked up 2 packs in the 2.8 and 1 pack in the 3.3. Like I said, these are the 2 sizes that generally I go to. So Nico, I've done shown you these. The Nico company, which is originally a Japanese company. These are made in Japan. These are also ribbed swim baits. Now, I haven't had them out on the water yet. I don't know how good they are, but these are ribbed and they're made of like a very stretchy plastic. So they're super durable. Really a different look to them. This color right here, they are a 3.75, so basically a 3.8, is the Sexy Herring. So really cool looking color right there. This color is a color that, well, I'm going to hold one off. I know you've probably seen that. But this is basically the Milky Way. So it's a white, a little bit transparent, some black flake in it. Good looking color. So this is a color I'm super jacked up about for those smallmouths. It's got that purple in there, and I'm hoping maybe I can just put a little bit of touch somewhere in there. I don't know how this is going to take dye, but I'm going to test it out on one, and I'll let you know, of course. This is a color that I am jacked up about for those smallmouth. And I mean, look at that, man. Such a cool looking color. Such a cool looking bait. I'll let you guys know, you know, they're super soft. So for stretchy material, that's a big deal. But I can't wait to get those out there and try them out. They're definitely going to be something a little different. And sometimes that's all it takes. Now, as always, you guys know I slowly begin to buy up my hooks for my Arigs, because Arig season is upon us. Okay, it just gets better and better. And these days, when you get 2 or 3 really warm days, you've got a little bit of cloud cover or wind, or you've got cloud cover and wind, pull out those Arigs, boys and girls. We'll do a video on that. These are bumpkin swim bait heads, and of course they've got the screw lock. If you haven't seen my screw lock short, go watch it. It's pretty funny. So something that I really love as we get into the colder weather, not necessarily right now, is the 110 Juniors. Didn't have me a, you know, kind of a pearl white version, or I think, let's see what they call this. Well, French pearl. So I didn't have my French pearl in the Juniors. Needed to pick me one up, so I got one. This is the +1. So the 110 +1, I like to fish them a little deeper because, of course, I live in the mountains. Something else that's been doing really good, and it kind of stems from the, you know, onslaught of forward-facing sonar now, right? So forward-facing sonar, a big deal is kind of tossing out a tail spinner through those shad and being able to get bites from those bass that are feeding. And this is a 3/4 ounce. This is a Jackal version. It's got a small Colorado blade on it. I think this is called the Deer Coop. So good looking little bait right there, good looking weight. This is going to come in handy for me this year. Wished I'd have had it out, but I wanted to do the video on it before I took it out yesterday. Wished I would have had it out with me yesterday. Something else in South Carolina that I broke and didn't get to run was my DT6 in my olive back, I believe is what that is called. Let me check the name of the color. Or pearl gray shiner. I think it's got an olive back on it anyway. I think that used to be what it was called, some sort of olive back. But the DT6 with the green back, silver, and the pearl. Good color no matter where you go. So one of the other things that I got my brains beat out with when I was down in South Carolina was a shallow diving flat side. He was throwing the Fritz side to number 3. Now here's the bad thing. I've got a bunch of them in the color he was throwing. I forgot about them. That's the bad thing about having so much gear that you literally forget you own things. But I got a bunch. They're hanging right over there on the wall, so I shouldn't even have forgot. I should have just done what my mama's told me my whole life, shut my mouth and open my eyes. But all that being said, I did pick up some of the new chick magnets. These are balsa wood baits. Balsa wood, I know in my area during the wintertime is huge. And these are a shallower diver. 7/16, a real light little bait. They only dive about 3 to 5 feet, I believe. I know they don't get down there too awful far. 4 to 6 feet. So I was off a foot. Instead of 3 to 5, 4 to 6. So 4 to 6. I bought one in every color that Just Fishing had. This is the green gizzard shad. Again, a great color. You know, again, olive, pearl. You see, I keep colors pretty simple most of the time. Here's a spring crawl, one of my favorite colors in the spring. This will get some use, I can promise you. Chartreuse copper. Again, good looking bait right there. That water dirties up for those smallmouth. Chartreuse copper wins the day. And last but not least, this is root beer. Now, guys, I don't know if y'all know, root beer in my area is the bomb. So, this is their version of root beer. It's kind of a go-to color where I live in almost any winter time style of bait. Now, we're going to go to something that's not quite a flat side, but is also considered a wintertime bait. And I got a few colors that I didn't have in these. Guys, I'm a huge spro fan. So, you know, I love the rock crawlers. I'm just such a big fan of them. I've done so well on them in the past. Them and their cousins, the wiggle warts. Love the wiggle warts. Got a box load of them. But they're just good stuff. With these, I do tend to go with the little deeper diver ones, right? So I've got a ton of this shallower diving. But so what I've done, number one, and this is a great looking color. I love that it's flat. This is the RKMD 55, 4 to 8 feet. Great spring bait, great spring color around me. This is the Delta Crawl. So good looking color, good looking red color. Got just a touch of orange transition in it. So that'll be good early spring until they start to transition to the all orange or the spring crawl looking bait. Here is an olive crawl. Now this has got a little more of a green back. This is kind of that springish, not quite a spring crawl, but as they're coming out, and again, this is another RK, this is an RK50, so a little smaller profile and a 4.8 foot. Picked up, or 4 to 8 foot diver also, but picked up a couple of different sizes. So here we go with some of the different ones. Now this is a dead on spring crawl. This is a burnt orange crawl. But this is kind of that color when I talk about spring crawl. I'm looking for that orange. I'm looking for that little bit of red, that darker black back. When we get into that really right before spawn. They tend to come off of that red color, and this tends to be the color that they go to directly thereafter. Is that orange, a little bit of chartreuse, good darker back. This is an RK55 9 to 14 feet. And a lot of times with a rock crawler, as we get closer to the time when they're going to be spawning, I'll go find those mud banks, those areas where those smallmouth are going to pull up and spawn. And these deeper divers, as they dig that trench, it looks so much. So you're dredging them up shallower. Looks so much like a crawfish scurrying away, leaving that little cloud of dust. Now, here's one of my favorite colors in the winter. This is the Ghost Orange Crawl, and it's really got a lot of green to it. The tips are orange. So that's great in clear water during the wintertime, during the late fall. Again, 9 to 14 foot. And this was a new color, a color that's very hard to find. And I thank my buddy, shout out to my buddy Jared, he sent me a picture of a crawl that had some blue and kind of brownish gray in it. And I think he's going to die when I see this. So Jared, I was thinking of you, buddy, when I bought that one. That is called the Stone Cold. So killer looking color. It's hard to find. It is, like I said, got that brown into that good blue on the belly. And I think that's going to be a good color. Again, showing them a little something different, especially in the cold water. Now we're going to really talk about shallow crankbaits. The ones, those 3 to 5 foot divers that, like that Fritz Side 3 that Joey was kicking my butt on. And a bait that I really started falling in love with the past few years more and more has been the Spro Little John. What I wanted to do is get some of those shallower baits, and it's great because it's a flat side. It's a very subtle bait. So these are your 3 to 5 foot divers. I stocked up on a bunch. Got to kind of cover the gamut. This is a copper shad. Again, like I said, copper shad, but a good looking color, good looking shad color right there. Now here's my spring crawl. Boys and girls, some of you might think this is ugly, but I'm going to tell you right now, this is a fish catching machine in the spring. Right there. When they get up shallow, like I said, 3 to 5 feet, you better have one of those tied on. Now here's a color that I love across the board, especially in my rock crawler. This is a watermelon red crawl, and it is very translucent. Love that this time of year. And of course, you always got to go with that kind of nasty shad, as they call it, but it's a sexy shad pattern. Got to have my shads in there. Got to get a little reflective up in here, a little bit of silver. This is the homemade shad. Good looking color there. Got some reflective tape or stickers on it there. Early spring when the water's still cold, got to have that Delta Crawl. Got to have that red, boys and girls. And yes, I did pick up 2 of the watermelon red crawl because that's big in the winter. Now, on the other ones, I went a little bit deeper. And boy, they've got a MD out there. It's a micro MD, I believe it is, a 45. I am dying to stock because they dive down to that like 8 to 14 or something like that. Don't go buy them up, daggone it. I'm getting ready to put a huge order in on those. But they are so perfect for this time of year for me. These are 7 to 9 foot. These are the Little John MDs. They are the medium divers, what that stands for, 50s. And the 50s stand for the type of body style, so how big the actual body is. This is a new color. This is something else that you'll find in your local tackle shops too. A lot of times they'll get special colors. Like if they sell a lot of certain types of baits, they'll actually get specialty colors in that you can't get anywhere else. So this is a lavender shad, huge for the fisheries that I fish. 7 to 9 feet. This will be great in the spring once they start raising the lake and the lake dirties up just a little bit. Here we go again with my good old spring crawl. Hard to beat that color. Here's a color everybody should have in the fall. Chrome olive. And you know me, I've always got to have some sort of translucent because I do fish a lot of clear water. And this is the good old spooky shad. All right, that is it. That is my haul from Just Fishing. Like I said, if you're not local, I'll put links in the description down there to where you can find this stuff online. They do sell a lot of stuff online. I don't know how well they keep their inventory online up, so I will put a link to Just Fishing if you want to support Just Fishing. Some of the links will go back to Tackle Warehouse, which will also help support me. But the biggest thing is, guys, get in your cars, drive to your local tackle shops, talk to those guys. They're awesome. I love going to, like I said, I love going into my local tackle shops, the big three for me, which is Just Fishing, Watson's, and, you know, Bucks and Bass down in Dandridge. And being able to just talk to them about stuff. You know, what's selling. You'll know what's biting. But as always, guys, support your local tackle shops. Thank you for supporting BassGeek. And as always, questions and comments in the comment section below. You guys know I love to talk about fishing with you. Like it if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe and make sure you guys ring that bell so that you get the notifications. Watch these videos. Let's get this channel rolling this year. I promise you I'm going to do everything I can to pump out some crazy good in-depth content for the advanced and the beginner. We're going to be doing some how-tos. We're going to be doing some on-the-water fish catches how-tos. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff. I'm going to work my rear end off for you this year. And as always, you guys rock.